Hi, I thought I would like to introduce myself to all the people who don't know who I am, who maybe just started watching these videos. So I'm Susan Lyon. I'm a fine artist. I've been a self-employed fine artist for, do I want to say? Let's just say over 30 years. Let's just say that. That's easy. I'm in my studio. I'm in North Carolina. We live north of Winston-Salem, so kind of close to the Blue Ridge Parkway if you look at on the map. And sometimes in these videos, I show you sometimes the starts of all these little sketches. And recently, I've been kind of trying to get myself to do a lot of what I call studies, block-ins, all still life related. And because for most of my career, I am a figurative painter. I have done still lifes, but in general, I do a lot of people, faces, people in scenes, people from trips from other countries. And my husband and I are both primarily, sorry, I got hair in my mouth, primarily figurative people. And sometimes I feel bad because I'll show like a little start, or I'll talk about, hey, I'm starting this still life, and then I never show like the finished. Now, I will post finished things on Instagram, and sometimes I try and get myself to post like a finished piece on this, but life happens and I think, gosh, am I also, to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of these studies are slightly left undone, meaning they're almost like, gosh, I got a hair in my mouth, sorry. I keep them as like what I call a demo. They are practice. Now, I'm also in my old age, I'm trying to become more painterly. I'm trying not to be so precious about every single brushstroke and then that idea that there's going to be something that's perfect. I'm trying to be like more bold, have more texture, see my strokes, so I'm not always just softening them out. So that's why a lot of these, or what things you might see me post are, they're not like something that would be big and framed and put into a museum show. They are things that I keep for myself to learn from, and sometimes I sell them from people visiting my studio or workshops. And a lot of times students buy these or other artists because they like to see that kind of almost in between stage, that stage that is not 100% really refined. I like seeing those things too. But I just kind of wanted to explain a little bit about what this channel is that I show demonstrations and tutorials from me, my husband and I, Scott and me, Susan, and we talk about photography and Photoshop and trips and live streams. Like today I'm going to set up, you see those carnations right there. So I have a Patreon, and each month what we do is we always upload new demos, new tutorials, and they are a variety. They're not just one thing. And over time, we started, it's been over 4 years, 4.5 years of a Patreon. So this backlog of videos and everything from drawing to oil painting, to watercolor, to landscape, to how to pack, for your paints on a trip. So there's all kinds of categories on there. Anyways, just letting you know that each month I really dedicate a lot of time for both Scott and me to offer things, information. And we do a live stream. So it's kind of to hang out with the community, and each month is different. We talk, people ask questions, we all share. I learned so much. People tell us about things that, supplies or shows or frames or all kinds of things that we didn't know about. And everybody shares with each other on the Zoom. But I always have some kind of idea. I'm always having some goal or focus. And tomorrow I decided I'm going to talk about carnations. And so I found images of other people who's painted carnations, a few paintings that I've done, and just go over a little bit of how to simplify them. And so then I'm going to do a quick little demo, which my husband Scott will help me. And we have another big camera that I have to set up. So we set up this big kind of professional camera when I do live streams, and then we record it so that we can share those separately on a high definition. And And so tomorrow will be about carnations, and you never know, topics come up out of the blue. So it's always a little bit of an organic get together. And so I have to organize my studio today. I have to get ready for the live stream. There's some other things I have to get ready for. I'm also getting ready to get some of those Richard Schmid videos that I mentioned before. They are taking a while, but I'm going to hoping to send those out, and I'm going to send those to Nancy Guzik. And I want to tell you guys that each year she hosts a celebration of Richard. Now, Richard Schmid is an artist. He passed away a couple years ago, but he is just somebody who changed how contemporary artists see the world and how they approach painting. I mean, I'm going to say it. I don't think there's any argument. I mean, so when people see his work, they see things differently. He shows you a different way to see. And the way he approached painting was very singular and influenced a whole generation. And it keeps inspiring a generation. He's written many books. So Alla Prima is his most famous book that came out in 1999. But go to richardschmid.com. He also has a foundation that Nancy has started to keep his memory alive, his art alive, and to share with the world. But also it's a community for artists who are kind of like-minded and love beautiful art to get together and meet each other and know that they have that fellowship. Next week, I'm doing a big still life workshop, so I'm kind of getting ready for that too. So I have a lot going on, and I'll show you a little bit from the workshop, in the upcoming videos. I just wanted to explain why I have so many sketches and why they don't seem to be getting finished. And it's kind of, purposeful, but I like to keep them out like this also because I keep touching them up. Right? When you look at them from far away and I go, okay, I need to brighten that color note. I need to balance. I need to soften that edge. And I think it's really best to do that from seeing your artwork from far away. So I just wanted to explain that a little bit. And I had this drawing magazine in my shelf for a while, and sometimes I forget why I even have these magazines. And so I thought I better look through this before I throw it out. Now, I don't know if Drawing magazine is still around. This is from 2015, and is there a month? Huh. Maybe it was sort of like I don't know. You'd think that if it was a quarterly, it would say something, but so I was looking through it, and it's always fun to kind of look through magazines and see do you still recognize the artists and all that stuff, and well, I came across something on me. It seems so long ago. Holy cow. So this was an article that I was honored to be a part of. Instructional Approaches, 5 Teachers Share Their Methods. And this is all, so this magazine says 2015, but it says here they're talking about the 2010 Weekend with the Masters conference. And those conferences lasted, I think, 3 or 4 years maybe. Scott and I did 3 of them. And they were pretty cool. I mean, I really wish that they were still around. But here you go. So these photos were taken of me at that conference, and I was teaching quick sketch. So you see here, I'm doing a charcoal back. And so quick sketch would be short poses. Anything, usually like 3, 5, 8, 10, 15, 20. Usually those are the numbers, and lots of them. So 3 hours of quick sketch, a whole half hour of just 3 minutes, take a break. Then 5 minute, so it could be really exhausting. And here is a pastel that I did. And this was pastel on Reeves printmaking paper of a young Himba girl. Scott and I went to Namibia, and oh my gosh, her face is so haunting. So I used to do a lot of pastels like that, kind of one color. I would call them, reminds me of old photographs, like sepia photographs. Let's see, improve your artwork, advice from Susan Lyon. Oh, talking about razor blades, having multiple pencils sharpened at the same time. Remember that if the model's face is not directly level with yours, the nose will be foreshortened. Artists often don't take this angle into account when they measure incorrectly and draw the nose too long. Okay, so I'm not going to read you this whole thing. Okay, I just thought, I was wondering why I kept it. Oh, and Sherry McGraw and Robert Liberace. So I was in pretty good company, and Anthony Ryder. So I don't think you could probably get this magazine. Well, this particular issue, I wonder if you Googled it, if like somebody was still selling it somewhere. Oh, David Casson. Isn't that fun? What a great. So anyways, I thought I don't know if I'll keep this or not. Just thought I would show you something that was in my, you know, you're always wondering, should I keep all these things? Thought I'd share. Today I've come down to organize my still life stations, and they're all pretty bare right now, but I'm just kind of getting them set. All these different stations with neutral colors, grays, but every still life has to have a white object. So I'm just sort of going around and getting these ready, and then I'm gonna have fruits and then some flowers in each one of them. Just sort of sweeping up and organizing the studio. Gonna be organizing my area over here where I do my demo and where I give a slideshow. Yep, I have to come back in the next couple days and put all the finishing touches. Here's our big camera. I am trying to set up a very simple little carnation demo, and I really don't want this demo to be too long. It's going to be mainly about thinking about how to set up a carnation, how to break it down to the simplest strokes, just like we've done in the past about how to paint a nose, how to paint lips. It's not complicated, meaning what are the first 5 strokes you put down? What are the biggest shapes you're thinking about? And so I'm trying to think about good lighting. Here, I'll show you what I'm doing. We close my curtains primarily because even though this is north light, if there's a cloud going by or something, it will show up in the video. Ugh. So this is a 12 by 9 canvas, and I just toned it with a little bit of a light gray yesterday, just so that I wouldn't be working directly on white. And I knew that I was going to have sort of these, like, of a neutral gray background. And so maybe I can even leave some of it, what you might call as a vignette. And I was telling you about how a lot of these block-ins are left kind of, what's a good word? Just let's say, instructional. And I had this little mini pochade, you know, because I'm in between 2 studios. I was like, oh no, I left my bigger pochade downtown, but this is fine. You know, this, I'm just using this bigger easel, so I can see my painting and the setup at the same time. I also put this extra canvas right here so that maybe I'll lay out my paints right here. And we do it vertical. I don't normally paint with a vertical palette, but for demos, it just makes life easier. It makes it easier so that the camera can have both the painting and the palette in the same shot. This is just like a piece of like some kind of plastic, but the mixing really isn't huge. So I think I'll lay my paints out over here and mix here. Okay, so I'm gonna lay out my paints right now. One of the things that I get frustrated with a lot with these vertical palettes is any paint that has oil will just start to drip, 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 and I get so messy setting up palettes. Now, I have a lot of warms, primarily because I'm only going to be focusing on the flowers. We'll see how far I get today, right? It's just a demo. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the paints I put out. Okay, so I have Gamblin solvent-free gel. The reason why, and this is made with safflower oil, the reason why I like this instead of a medium that is in a jar that's liquid, you see how that stays. So that's not going to go anywhere. Oh my gosh, look at that green, and the red was dripping. Ah! Okay, and Rembrandt, I have titanium white with safflower oil.
I have Windsor Yellow Deep. I just put a yellow out. I don't know how much yellow I'm going to use, so if I need more colors, I mean, I have a ton of paint here. I can put out more. Rembrandt and Burnt Sienna. Rembrandt Permanent. This is permanent red medium. So instead of cadmium, the permanent. So these are the type of colors that a lot of people are going to instead of cadmiums, not only because cadmiums can be, I guess, dangerous, but also expensive. So the permanent red medium, quinacridone rose in Rembrandt. And then I like to have two different purples. This is more of a pinky reddish type purple, and this is more of a blue magenta. So this is quinacridone violet in Gamblin. I have some of these convenient colors from Gamblin. There's a Radiant series, and then there's just these other ones that are just sort of, this is a series 4. So series 4 is a lot more expensive than a series 2. Just has to do with, you know, how they make it, what's in it. I love this sort of lime yellow green. It is a great convenient color to pop in with different blues and greens or to go next to pretty flowers. It just makes everything look very spring-like. But this Radiant Violet, I absolutely love. And instead of putting Viridian, I just put Emerald Green. You know, I just thought I would try it because I don't have a lot of green in the painting, so I don't have to worry that much. And you can see I'm almost out of Ultramarine Blue Deep. Ultramarine Blue Deep. So, like I said, I might add more colors, but this will be primarily to grab the paint and then I'll mix it here. And this is the simple little setup I'm gonna do. My light source is coming from my LED lights up there. So the light source is not very strong, but you can see that there is a shadow pattern, especially on that little vase against the wall. So that means that every flower on the right side is going to be that's gonna be the shadow side. So I'm gonna have to think about that. Okay, I'm gonna take a photo. I send this to the live stream people so they can see what I'm also painting and maybe they can paint along. Scott with the camera will be a lot of times positioning the camera so that he can see all of this and my setup, but then sometimes he's gonna zoom in and only show what I'm painting. So that's why I take a photo to share. So I'm getting ready. This live stream is gonna start in about a half hour. Well, that was a fun live stream. And we talked a lot about paintings and Photoshop and there's all kinds of questions. I mean, it went over 2 hours. And then I did a very, very simple little block in. And I just told people it was mainly the idea of how to just think about one value next to another. You paint all the carnations in this sort of very, very simple block, very strong overall shape. Do some little fun, little juicy strokes in the middle. And then everything's to about 50%. And then you kind of zero back into the bullseye. And then you zero back in one more time. And then you give a hard accent. You be a beautiful little color note of green, a little sharp edge here or there. And to me, it's like an impressionistic idea. You don't want to show too much. And so I talked a lot about using long brushes and the effect. And I don't feel like my palette was big enough. I was like running out of space, but no, it was pretty quick. It was just an idea how to use certain brushes, how to use certain colors, and how to really use long hair brushes in just the first phase of blocking in color. I'll finish this. And I always upload these videos to our Patreon every first of the month. And I like to show close-ups and more details about all the paint and all that type of stuff. But I just thought I'd give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes of what this particular live stream was about, although every live stream is different. I did work on it a little bit more. I forced myself to keep the energy of the demo, so I really only tried to work on it for 20-25 minutes more, pretty much just to show the little bit of the bottom and fill in some of the sides. But I wanted to show you, I don't know if those little white pom-poms, I just kind of put all the carnations together without thinking, but gosh, sometimes when you do a painting like this, and you just have two little white pom-poms right down there, honestly, I could easily maybe just even add a little white pom-pom in the background right here, make it a little bit less bright, you know, just a value darker, and just do a color value note right back there, because you judge your painting sometimes afterwards. You paint what's in front of you, trying to be as expressive as possible, but that's why I have so many paintings on my wall, is that I look and I go, okay, I need to change that a little bit. I need to add some red to that corner. And this could be a perfect one to do that, whereas like I add a note of a white carnation somewhere back here, but very loose. Oh my gosh, I got so much paint on me. Very loose, and trying to do it in one stroke. That's the key. But I thought I'd show you the finished little sketch, at least for now.